Hi, I'm Al Dayer with Mickey's Bait and Tackle in North Syracuse, New York, a central New York tradition for over 64 years. And we are in the throes of one of the most spectacular ice seasons that the store has ever experienced this year. And today we're going to talk about a most overlooked item, and that would be the ice fly, the simple ice fly. Most ice fishermen, when they're fishing for perch and panfish and the like, use a metal style spoon little dot type jig, okay, 1/32 ounce, something tiny, tied to the bottom of the line, and then they'll tip it with a spike and jig. But a very effective technique would be to take a fly, either made from hair or feather or fur, and tie that fly in tandem just above the ice jig, maybe about 12 inches. In this case, it's a little fly made from rabbit hair. And then you could tip that with a spike. So now you've got a 2-for-1 offering, you might say, that's going to hopefully entice whatever it is you're after. So today's lesson will be twofold. We're going to tie two ice jigs, very simple ice jigs, one from calf tail, which is available in many different colors. We're also going to tie a ice fly made from rabbit fur, which is also made available in many different colors. We're tying these flies on a simple bait hook, a gold, in this case it's a number 8 bait hook that you normally would associate with worm fishing, and it's a plain shank, and you can tie these down to size 12s. You can tie them as large as 6s. But we're going to use a size 8 today. And gold is nice because it's a little flashy. Not that you have to use gold hooks. But the first thing that I'll do is I'll put one of those gold hooks in my vise. Okay? And then I'm going to start my thread. I'm using about a 3/0 red flat wax nylon. We'll start the thread on the shank of the hook. Give it a nice foundation. Okay? And I'll take my scissors, get rid of the tag, and then let's start with a calf tail. We'll do a chartreuse, and we'll take some fur from the calf tail, and in this case less is more. You don't want to overdo it. Get a nice tuft of hair, and it helps to have serrated scissors, I find, when cutting hair. The blades actually have a little serration. It tends to grip the hair a lot better. Now I've got this cut from the calf tail, and I'm going to pinch the tips, and hold it in between your thumb and your forefinger, and get rid of some of that fluff that's generally found at the base of the fur where I made the cut. Get rid of that stuff. Okay? You don't need all that. And then the second thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to measure. This is a little too long. If I tie this in right where I cut it, might be a little too long. So we want to measure this exactly where we want to tie it in, and then take my serrated scissors and cut that nice and flush. Okay? Then I'm going to pinch that and bring it down to the shank of the hook and gradually wrap my thread over it slowly. The first wraps are always gentle and very easy. Subsequent wraps can be a little more pressure, and get that established on that nice, neat thread base that I formed. And there's our simple, very simple, it's unbelievable, but yet effective ice fly made from calf tail, tied on a number 8 gold hook with a turn-down eye. Give that some nice wraps, and then we're going to whip finish this baby. And there's several ways you can whip finish. I like the whip finish tool. We'll go like that. Give it about 5 or 6 turns of the whip finish tool. Okay. And then just cut that. There you are. There's your nice ice fly. The next fly we're going to demonstrate to tie is made from rabbit hair. And the neat thing about rabbit hair, like marabou, it's very, very soft. And when in the water, it literally undulates. It has a lot of action associated with it. Calf tail is a bit, on the stiff side, crinkly side, and still has action, but not like rabbit fur. And this is durable too, a lot more durable than marabou. It lends itself well to tying ice flies because of its shortness in nature. So we'll again put that number 8 gold hook in the vise, and I'll start my thread my red flat wax nylon. It's about a size 3/0. And I'll build up a nice base of the thread to adhere that rabbit hair to. My scissors. And then we'll take some of this green chartreuse. And you can tie these in so many different colors. And it's amazing how often the fish will respond to color. It's funny, you know. You would think that there are more important variables, but sometimes color can make a difference. I even hate to admit it. So I'll cut a tuft of that rabbit hair from that piece. Again, serrated scissors really help. And we'll measure that. That's just about right. And we'll get that right on the hook. And again, begin to tie the thread in place. Give it about, I don't know how many wraps. I don't usually count, but just enough to secure it. But you can see the idea here. And then we're going to whip finish that just like we did with the calf tail. This is so simple, it's unbelievable. But again, less is more. And it's the action that counts, you know, when it's in the water. And you could use different color threads, I suppose, if you wanted to. You could use darker materials. But there's your rabbit hair right there. And again, durable. Tip it, tie it in as a tandem, as we showed you earlier in the production. Tie it just above, 12 inches or so, 18 inches above or so. And then tip it and just watch the action. And as the season progresses, it seems like that fish come in shallower, closer to shore. And they put the feed bag on. It's kind of like they know what's going on. The ice is getting ready to leave us. Early ice and last ice, for some reason, are always the best times to fish. I guess the worse the ice, the better the fishing. You still got to be careful out there. Well, I'm Al Dare with Mickey's Bait and Tackle, saying so long for now. Try some of these jigs. They work great. Now, when you've tied all your flies, it's great to put them in a little styrofoam or balsa wood board, and then add your head cement at the end of your tying session, especially if it's an alcohol-based head cement. I'm always talking about that, because you don't want to be around this stuff and take in those fumes. I find that the new water-based head cement products are, in some instances, far superior to the actual alcohol-based. And you just dip the needle in your head cement, and then just a little dab on each one of the wrappings will do it. So it's that simple.